Welcome to the Lifespan Development and Safe Practice for Dance Teaching and Training. Most dance practitioners are fortunate enough to interact and work with dancers who are at a very different age and stage in their life, and also potentially a very different stage in their progression through learning dance. We know from the dance pedagogy course that dancers, and I mean this in the broader sense of anybody who goes to a class where dance is being taught, instructed or performed, dancers engage with dance activities with a range of intentions and in a range of contexts, and often across a broad spectrum of ages and stages in their lives. Now, before we go any further, I'd like you to reflect on the range of groups of dancers that you interact with in your practice, and also note in what capacity you interact with them. That is a teacher, a choreographer, a coach, a pedagogue, a co-performer, or something different. If you're currently not practicing, do this retrospectively. Stop the video and make a list. Also write down some of the characteristics of these groups. We will use this list in your workshop task number 6. We know that changes occur throughout the lifespan, from the day of our conception to the day that we die. And these are natural changes, but can be controlled or modified to a certain extent by our interaction with the world and the environment. Development is cognitive, physical, and psychosocial. Cognitive development includes mental abilities, learning, memory, language, thinking, reasoning, and creativity. Physical development refers to the growth of the brain and the body. And psychosocial development refers to emotions, personality, social relationships, and therefore learning also. We discussed this in the Dance Pedagogy Week, where we looked at the biopsychosocial and cultural influences on development through Engel's biopsychosocial and Bronfenbrenner's ecological models. In the context of the dance pedagogy course, the development of dancers was of interest from a psychosocial perspective. We will now look at the physiological development in the context of health and dance. However, we can never really separate these totally from the biopsychosocial as a whole. As practitioners in dance, we have quite a unique job, because we often teach more than one of the populations listed here. Very young children, infants, toddlers, teenagers, young adults, older adults, both novice and advanced, mixed cultural backgrounds, different anatomical body types, special populations with additional needs, elite learners, and gifted and talented students. So what I'd like for us to look today are the implications with regards to dance and health. Can we teach and train dancers at different developmental stages the same way? What are the concessions and adaptations to teaching and training that we have to make? The implications with regards to dance and health go beyond the pedagogical implications to the more physical implications of development of the body during maturation. So can we teach and train dancers from different cultural backgrounds or different anatomical body types using the same methods? And here I'd like to bring an example potentially of a dance class of young 9-year-old dancers, within which we have 4 dancers who present with generalized joint hypermobility and 10 dancers who don't. Will our methods be the same, and how will we differentiate in order that the dance is safe for both the hypermobile and the non-hypermobile dancer? when we're teaching to special populations? Do we understand their additional needs from a physical perspective as well as a cognitive perspective? Are, for example, elite learners and gifted and talented students of different developmental stages able to come together in class? And if they do, how will we accommodate this in our planning? This often happens at summer schools and masterclasses, where you'll get very young, talented dancers of a high technical stage, along with older dancers of a similar technical stage. Do teachers actually accommodate for the different physicality and physical development of those dancers? Can we teach adult novices the same methods as child novices? How might we differentiate not only for the cognitive abilities but also the physical development? And finally, what will this look like for the style or context of dance that we are instructing? It's very important, especially when you're writing assignments or writing papers, to make sure that everything is described well and very clear. When writing about child development, it's important that the terminology that we use is universal. We have preterm, term, newborns, infants and toddlers, children and adolescents. And the lines between these stages are interwoven and quite blurred. Prenatal birth and newborns potentially won't show themselves in the dance studio. Infancy and toddlerhood, however, is probably the place that everybody starts when they start teaching dance. Childhood can be divided into early and middle childhood, and adolescence stretches across a chronological period which is quite long, and blurs also into the adult stage. Further information about child development and terminologies can be found in Packer's 2017 book, which you have access to in the library. There are general guidelines for safe and healthy practice and what we must do with young toddlers and infants in our classrooms. The awareness of the body is important at this stage of development, and physical posture and aesthetic alignment are key. Balance and coordination, meaning cephalocaudal and proximal distal development, need to be developed. Cephalocaudal development refers to development from the head to tail, whilst proximal distal development means from near to far and refers to the development of the body from the centre outwards. Laterality and a balance between skills on the right and left side of the body are important. These are all developed through a normal development in play. A dance teacher needs to consider how to achieve this through dance practice. Observation of fundamental motor skills such as getting up and sitting down, walking, skipping and standing are all skills that a dance teacher needs to have. Little and often to correct and reinforce good motor patterns and activities is the best thing to do with these young toddlers. A teacher therefore needs to consider how they're going to plan and achieve this within their dance practice, whilst also teaching the children to dance. There are general guidelines for young children in the developmental stage between the age of 8 and 10 years old. Body awareness and posture at this age and stage are important, and this is because children go through their first growth spurt, which is visible in the protruding stomach. When children go through significant changes in the body, such as a growth spurt, they often regress back to previous developmental stages in terms of dance technique. And for this reason, it's important that the teacher continues to develop a balanced use of both sides of the body, coordination between right and left and top and bottom. The teacher should work on alignment to include both postural and limb alignment and a sense of awareness of what the body looks like in space. Gentle strength and conditioning is advised at this age and stage as a dancer is developing, and maintaining the natural flexibility that the dance has is also important. And when we talk about flexibility, we're talking about the natural flexibility and not actually increasing the length of the muscles of a child who's going through this age and stage of development.